Karoline Leavitt unmasks Rachel Maddow's lies with a bombshell recording on live TV, sparking a fiery clash that shakes the media world. The studio lights burn hot, and the air crackles with tension as the host, Greg Tanner, steps onto the set of ClashPoint, a talk show known for pitting ideological titans against each other. The audience, a mix of diehard fans and curious onlookers, buzzes with anticipation. Tonight's matchup is a powder keg. Karoline Leavitt, the youngest White House press secretary in history, a fierce defender of President Trump, versus Rachel Maddow, MSNBC's progressive powerhouse, a vocal critic of the administration. Greg, with his polished grin, knows the stakes. "Folks, buckle up," he says, his voice booming. "This is going to be a showdown for the ages." He introduces Karoline first. At just 28, she's a political wunderkind, her sharp wit and unapologetic loyalty to Trump earning her both admiration and scorn. She strides out in a crisp navy blazer, her blonde hair pulled back, exuding confidence. The crowd offers a mixed response, cheers from the right, murmurs from the left. Then comes Rachel, her signature glasses glinting under the lights, her demeanor calm but steely. The progressive faithful in the audience erupt, but there's an undercurrent of hostility from the other side. Greg lays out the ground rules. No interruptions, keep it civil, but the glint in his eye suggests he's hoping for chaos. The debate kicks off with a hot-button topic: Elon Musk and Tesla. Rachel leans forward, her tone measured but cutting. "Let's be real, Greg. Tesla's stock has been a roller coaster, and Musk's erratic behavior, his obsession with X, it's tanking the company. Production delays, quality issues, it's a mess." She cites a report claiming Tesla's market share is slipping, her words dripping with disdain for Musk, a figure she paints as a reckless capitalist. Karoline doesn't flinch. She fires back, her voice steady but laced with indignation. "Rachel, you're cherry-picking data to fit your narrative. Tesla's market cap is still over $1 trillion, leading the EV industry by miles. They delivered 1.8 million vehicles, last year up 38%. Musk's innovations, like the Cybertruck, are redefining the market." She pulls out a tablet, flashing a graph showing Tesla's dominance. The audience murmurs, some nodding, others skeptical. Rachel scoffs. "Numbers can lie, Karoline, you know that." The jab lands, and Karoline's eyes narrow. "Oh, we'll get to who's lying, Rachel," she says, her tone sharp enough to cut glass. Greg jumps in, steering the conversation to the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, a Trump-era initiative tied to Musk. Rachel pounces. "DOGE is a farce, a way to gut public services while funneling benefits to Musk's cronies. It's government by billionaires, for billionaires." Her words ignite cheers from her supporters, but Karoline shakes her head, smirking. "Wrong. Again," Karoline snaps. "DOGE has streamlined federal spending, saving taxpayers $20 billion in its first year. It's about efficiency, not handouts. Rachel, you're just mad because it's working." She cites specific cuts to bureaucratic red tape, her command of details silencing the room for a moment. Rachel counters, accusing DOGE of undermining labor protections, and the two women talk over each other, their voices rising. Greg, loving the drama, lets it simmer before calling for order. The tension spikes as the topic shifts to anti-Trump protests, a sore point for both. Rachel paints the protests as grassroots cries for justice, blaming Trump's rhetoric for dividing the nation. His policies, his alliances with figures like Musk, they're fueling unrest, she says, her voice thick with conviction. Karoline fires back, accusing Rachel of glorifying chaos. "Those protests aren't peaceful, Rachel. They're organized disruptions, and you're fanning the flames by twisting the truth on your show." The audience gasps, some cheering, others booing. Rachel leans back, a faint smile playing on her lips. "Twisting the truth? That's rich coming from Team Trump." The dig is personal, and Karoline's jaw tightens. She reaches into her blazer, pulling out a small device, her eyes locked on Rachel. "You want to talk about truth?" she says, her voice low, dangerous. "I've got something you're not gonna like." The crowd falls silent, sensing a storm about to break. Greg's eyebrows shoot up, and Rachel's smile falters. What's on that device, and how will it change the game? The studio hums with anticipation as Karoline holds the small device aloft, her gaze piercing Rachel. "You've built a career on selective truths," Karoline says, her voice steady but venomous. "But this is you, unfiltered." Rachel's smile vanishes, replaced by a flicker of unease. She shifts in her seat, glancing at Greg, who's practically leaning forward, sensing a bombshell. The audience holds its breath, the silence deafening. Greg, ever the showman, breaks the tension. "Whoa, Karoline, what's on that thing? You gonna share with the class?" His tone is playful, but his eyes are hungry for drama. Karoline doesn't take the bait, keeping her focus on Rachel. "It's a recording," she says, "from one of your own staffers. You thought it was buried, didn't you?" Rachel's face tightens, but she recovers quickly, forcing a laugh. "This is absurd. You're grasping, Karoline. What's next? Fake emails?" Karoline's lips curl into a grim smile. "Not fake. Real. And it's you, Rachel, admitting you skewed data on Tesla to push your narrative." The crowd gasps, a wave of murmurs rippling through the studio. Rachel's eyes widen, but she doubles down. "That's ridiculous. I don't manipulate data. My reporting is airtight." Her voice is firm, but there's a slight tremor, and Karoline pounces on it. "Airtight? Let's see about that." She presses a button on the device, and a crackly audio fills the studio. It's Rachel's voice, unmistakable, speaking in a hushed tone. "Look, we need to hit Musk hard. Tweak the numbers, make Tesla look shaky. Nobody checks the fine print." The audience erupts, some shouting in disbelief, others cheering Karoline. Rachel's face drains of color, her hands gripping the armrests. Greg, caught off guard, stammers, "Hold on, is that real?" Rachel recovers, her voice sharp. "This is a setup. That's not me, or it's edited. You can't just play a clip and call it proof." But the audience isn't buying it. Boos rain down, and Karoline presses her advantage. "You're denying your own voice? Your own words? You've been caught, Rachel." She turns to the crowd, her tone fierce. "This is what they do, folks. They twist, they spin. They lie to control the story." The debate spirals into chaos. Rachel, cornered, fires back, accusing Karoline of dirty tricks. "You're a mouthpiece for a regime that thrives on deception. This is classic Trump playbook, smearing opponents with fabricated evidence." Her words rally her supporters, but the recording has shifted the mood. Karoline shakes her head, her voice cutting through the noise. "Fabricated? I've got the metadata, Rachel. Timestamps, source files, everything." "Want to see it?" Greg jumps in, trying to regain control. Okay. Let's dial it back. Karoline, you're saying you have proof this is legit?" "Rachel, you're saying it's a fake? This is huge." He turns to the audience, milking the moment. "What do you think, folks? Who's telling the truth?" The crowd roars, split down the middle, but Karoline's revelation has given her an edge. Social media is already lighting up, clips of the recording spreading like wildfire. Rachel, sensing the tide turning, shifts tactics. She leans forward, her voice low, intense. "Let's talk about your boss, Karoline. Trump's cozy with Musk, pushing Doge to enrich his pals while workers suffer. You want to talk truth? Let's talk about that." It's a bold move, redirecting the heat, and it lands with her base. The audience splits again, some clapping, others jeering. Karoline doesn't blink. "Nice try, but you don't get to dodge this. Doge is saving billions, and you know it. But let's stay on you. That recording isn't the only one. She pauses, letting the words hang. Rachel's eyes narrow and Greg's jaw drops. There's more? He asks, barely hiding his glee. Karoline nods, her expression cold. Oh, there's more, and it's worse. The crowd buzzes, the tension electric. What else does Karoline have? And can Rachel survive another blow? The studio crackles with raw energy as Karoline's words linger like a guillotine poised to drop. Rachel's face is a mask of defiance, but her eyes betray a flicker of dread. Greg, barely containing his excitement, leans forward. Karoline, you're saying there's another recording? You're dropping bombs tonight. The audience roars, a mix of cheers and jeers, as the weight of the moment sinks in. Karoline, cool and unrelenting, holds the device like a weapon. Not just another recording, Greg. This one shows who Rachel really is. Rachel snaps, her voice sharp enough to cut through the noise. This is a circus, Karoline. You're peddling conspiracies to distract from your administration's failures. I won't sit here and be slandered. Her words rally her supporters, but the crowd's mood is shifting. The first recording still fresh in their minds. Karoline doesn't flinch. Slander? I'm just letting you speak for yourself. She presses a button, and a new audio clip blares through the studio speakers. It's Rachel again, her voice low, conspiratorial, speaking to an unidentified colleague. We need to frame Doge as a disaster. Doesn't matter if the numbers check out, just say it's bleeding jobs. People eat that up. The audience gasps, the betrayal cutting deeper this time. Even Rachel's loyalists hesitate, their cheers faltering. Greg's eyes widen, and he turns to Rachel, who's frozen, her hands clenched. Rachel, that's you, isn't it? He asks, his voice tinged with shock. Rachel's response is immediate, desperate. That's not me. It's manipulated, deep-faked, whatever you want to call it. This is a coordinated attack. But her denial sounds hollow, and the crowd's boos grow louder. Karoline seizes the moment, her voice rising with conviction. Deep-faked? You're out. Of excuses, Rachel. We have the original files, verified by third-party forensics. You can't spin this one. She pulls out her tablet, displaying a document with timestamps and digital signatures. The audience murmurs, some clapping, others whispering in disbelief. Greg, sensing the chaos, tries to steer the debate. Okay, let's unpack this. Karoline, you're accusing Rachel of deliberately misleading the public. Rachel, you're saying this is a setup. Let's get to the issues. Doge, Tesla, the protests. But the crowd isn't interested in policy. Now, they want blood. Rachel, cornered, shifts to offense. You want to talk issues? Let's talk about your precious Trump, Karoline. His anti-protest crackdowns are authoritarian, and you're out here defending him while he cozies up to Musk. Karoline's eyes flash with anger. Authoritarian? Those crackdowns stopped riots that burned businesses to the ground. And don't drag Musk into this to dodge your lies. You've been caught, Rachel, and you're flailing. The audience splits, half cheering Karoline's fire, half rallying behind Rachel's defiance. The debate descends into a shouting match, each woman's, voice rising over the others. Greg, loving every second, lets it run for a moment before slamming his hand on the desk. Enough! We're getting nowhere. Rachel, answer the recording. Is that you or not? Rachel takes a deep breath, her composure fraying. I've said it's not me, but let's say, hypothetically, someone used my voice. What's the context? Where's the full clip? You're cherry-picking, Karoline. It's a gamble, and it backfires. Karoline smirks, her confidence unshaken. Context? You're admitting to rigging narratives. And I've got the full clip, Rachel. It's worse than you think. The crowd erupts, the tension spiking to new heights. Greg jumps in, his voice urgent. Hold on, Karoline. You're saying there's more to this clip? What else is coming? Karoline nods, her expression grim. Let's just say Rachel's been playing a long game and it's about to unravel. Rachel's face hardens, but her silence speaks volumes. The audience leans forward, hungry for the next revelation. What's in the full clip, and how much deeper does this scandal go? The studio pulses with raw anticipation, every eye locked on Karoline as she stands poised, the weight of her next move hanging heavy. Rachel's silence, a stark contrast to her earlier fire, betrays her struggle to regain footing. Greg, sensing the crescendo, presses forward, his voice sharp. Karoline, you're dangling a bombshell here. What's in this full clip? Give us the goods. The audience leans in, a mix of skepticism and eagerness. There murmurs a low hum beneath the tension. Karoline's gaze doesn't waver from Rachel. The full clip, she says, her voice deliberate, shows Rachel orchestrating a campaign to discredit not just Doge, but anyone tied to Trump's agenda. It's not just one lie, it's a playbook. The crowd gasps, the accusation landing like a gut punch. Rachel's jaw tightens and she finally speaks, her tone icy. You're spinning a fantasy, Karoline. This is defamation, plain and simple. You have nothing but doctored audio and a vendetta. Karoline's lips twitch into a steely smile. Nothing? Let's let the tape speak. She taps her device, and the speakers crackle to life. Rachel's voice, clear and calculated, fills the room. We hit Doge, Musk, all of them. Plant stories, push the narrative. If we tie Trump's people to chaos, the protests look justified. The clip cuts off, but the damage is done. The audience erupts, boos drowning out scattered cheers from Rachel's dwindling supporters. Even Greg looks stunned, his usual smirk gone. Rachel, that's you, planning to smear an entire administration? Rachel's face flushes, but she fights back, her voice rising. This is a fabrication. You're taking snippets out of context to paint me as some mastermind. I report facts, Karoline, unlike your propaganda machine. Her words are defiant, but the crowd's turning, their trust in her crumbling. Karoline doesn't let up. Context? The full recording's 20 minutes of you plotting, Rachel. You coached your team to fake data, seed stories, even pressure other outlets. It's a coordinated hit job. She holds up her tablet, showing a forensic report with email chains and timestamps linking Rachel to the scheme. The audience buzzes, some shouting "liar" at Rachel, others demanding more proof. Greg, scrambling to keep control, jumps in. Karoline, you're saying Rachel's running a whole operation here? That's a massive claim. Rachel, what's your response? His voice is urgent, the show teetering on the edge of chaos. Rachel leans forward, her eyes blazing. My response? This is a desperate stunt by a flailing administration. Karoline's dodging the real issues. Trump's failures, Musk's reckless leadership. She's throwing mud because she can't defend her boss. The pivot rallies her base, but it's not enough. Karoline counters, her voice cutting like a blade. Dodging? I'm exposing you, Rachel. You've been caught rigging the game and now you're deflecting to save face. The debate explodes, both women talking over each other, their words, a torrent of accusations. Rachel hammers Trump's protest crackdowns, calling them tyrannical. Karoline fires back, accusing Rachel of inciting unrest with her skewed reporting. The audience is a powder keg, split between jeering Rachel and cheering Karoline. Greg, relishing the fire, lets it burn for a moment before slamming his desk. Hold it. We're losing the thread. Rachel, address the clip. Is that you or not? Rachel's voice drops, measured but strained. I've said it's not me, but let's talk motive. Why would I need to fake anything when Trump's record speaks for itself? Karoline's just protecting her golden boy. It's a weak parry, and Karoline seizes it. Motive? You wanted control of the narrative, Rachel. You couldn't stand Doge working, Tesla thriving, Trump succeeding. So you lied. The crowd roars, Karoline's words striking a chord. Greg, eyes wide, turns to Karoline. You're saying this goes beyond one story? How deep does it run? Karoline's expression hardens, her voice low. Deep enough to shake the media to its core. And I'm not done yet. Rachel's eyes narrow, a storm brewing behind them. The audience holds its breath, sensing the final blow is near. What's left in Karoline's arsenal? And can Rachel claw her way out? The studio is a pressure cooker, the air thick with expectation, as Karoline's ominous words hang like a storm cloud. Rachel's glare is fierce, but her composure frays, her hands fidgeting on the desk. Greg, his showman instincts in overdrive, presses Karoline, his voice urgent. Karoline, you're saying this is bigger than Rachel's reporting? What's the final piece of this puzzle? The audience, a volatile mix of supporters and skeptics, leans forward, their collective breath held. Karoline's eyes lock onto Rachel, unrelenting. It's not just one story, Greg. It's a network. Rachel's been coordinating with other outlets to push a unified anti-Trump, anti-Musk narrative. And I've got the proof. The crowd gasps, the revelation seismic. Rachel's face twists with fury and she slams her hand on the desk. This is slander. You're inventing a conspiracy to save your failing administration. I won't let you drag my name through the mud. Her voice cracks, betraying desperation. Karoline doesn't blink. Your name's already there, Rachel. You wrote the script. She taps her device one last time, and a new audio clip plays. It's Rachel, her tone commanding, speaking to a group. We align the stories, hit Doge, Tesla, the protests. If we all push the same angle, it's undeniable. Public opinion shifts, and Trump's done. The audience erupts, boos cascading over Rachel's supporters, who sit stunned. Even Greg, usually quick with a quip, is speechless, his eyes darting between the two women. Karoline holds up her tablet, displaying a leaked email chain linking Rachel to editors at 3 major networks. These aren't fakes, she says, her voice steady. Forensic analysis confirms the emails, the recordings, everything. Rachel, you didn't just lie. You built a machine to bury the truth. The crowd's roar is deafening. Karoline's evidence undeniable. Rachel's shoulders slump, but she fights back, her voice hoarse. This is a setup. You're weaponizing. Lies to silence dissent. Trump's the real threat, not me. The accusation lands weakly, the audience unmoved. Karoline shakes her head, her tone sharp. You're not the victim here, Rachel. The public is. You manipulated them, betrayed their trust. That's the real threat. The words strike deep, and the crowd cheers, Karoline's moral high ground unassailable. Greg, regaining his footing, turns to Rachel. Rachel, you've got to answer this. Is there any truth to these claims, or is this all fabricated? Rachel's eyes dart, her mind racing. I stand by my reporting, she stammers, but her voice lacks conviction. Karoline's twisting everything to protect her boss. That's all this is. The crowd boos, her defense crumbling under the weight of evidence. Karoline leans forward, her voice low, final. You're done, Rachel. The truth's out, and you can't spin your way out of it. The audience roars, a tidal wave of support for Karoline. Greg, sensing the end, steps in. Folks, this is unprecedented. Karoline's brought receipts, and Rachel's on the ropes. Let's wrap this up. What's the takeaway? Karoline seizes the moment, turning to the audience. The takeaway? Demand honesty. The media's not your friend if they're lying to you. Hold them accountable, just like we did tonight. The crowd erupts in applause, her words igniting a firestorm of agreement. Rachel, defeated, says nothing, her head bowed as the boos rain down. Greg closes the show, his voice booming. That's it for ClashPoint. Tonight, truth took center stage, and Karoline Leavitt brought the heat. The audience chants Karoline's name as she stands, her expression resolute. Rachel slips off stage, her credibility in tatters, the weight of her exposed lies crushing. In the days that follow, the internet explodes. Clips of Karoline's takedown go viral. Hashtags like #Truth Wins trending across platforms. Viewers flood social media, praising Karoline as a champion of integrity, her performance sparking a movement for media accountability. Posts demand transparency, with some calling for investigations into Rachel's network. Karoline's star rises, her unflinching stand cementing her as a voice of reason. The confrontation, a defining moment, reshapes the public's trust in journalism, proving one truth: lies can't hide forever.